Alrighty, welcome back to Console Commentary. This is episode 3. Now in this episode, we're on Frog Isle. And Frog Isle is an interesting map in the fact that not only is it quite open, but as far as I know, it's the shortest map in the game. Now why is the map being short such a big deal? Well, it rewards you for being more aggressive than other maps do. It's less costly if you die, as you can get into the match faster, or at least back into the fight faster. And in addition to that, the distance between you and your targets is way smaller. Now, I will note in this game that I am with a team of friends. We're a 4-stack, but we're fighting a stack of Grandmasters on the enemy team. This is essentially what it looks like to watch a scrim in motion, as both teams are stacks, and both teams know what they're doing. So, enjoy. Now, as I said earlier, you want to be aggressive on this map. But how do you be aggressive with Drogos on this map? Well, usually you want to go right here on the staircase and dive into the backline, as they usually try and sit right on the corner. I knew the enemy was not going to fall for that trick, so I waited for them to see me, and then took their line of sight off my team long enough for both Ash and Maeve to get into the backline. Now that they're there, I'm assisting them with keeping the heat going and preventing the enemy from actually contesting the objective. Now when it comes to zoning on Frog Isle, you want to be using as much cover as you can. Usually these this little triangle here. The giant rocks, the totem in the middle, and the jaguar statue. You just sort of want to sit here, using the different angles to poke at the enemy. And, Kanessa, do you mind? Some people, like, come on, alright. Where was I? That's right, I was telling you how to zone. Alright, so you want to try and use the rocks here to your advantage, and with Drogos on Worm Jets, you can actually just sort of bob around the rocks here. And later you'll see that the rocks here have weird physics, so you can actually just sort of slide down them slowly if you want to save some of your fuel. And right here you'll notice, I don't want to tussle with any of the frontliners. I know that as long as they have people backing them up, I can't win fights against them. But I will go for kills against people that I know are vulnerable, like a Kanessa who doesn't have a Genos near them to protect them. Now once again, zoning, holding the triangle, and as long as they can't get to the triangle, we're good. I did try to use my ult there, but I didn't fall nut. It would have been good there if I fell down more, but my play ended up backfiring as usual. Now I get what you're thinking. Why am I so reckless? Well, I really like playing a very hit or miss sort of playstyle. I go all in on my attacks because, well, as you see here, not even regarding to try and figure out where the enemies were positioned, I go behind them, and then I try and go and wipe them by myself. And it paid out. We managed to get the team low. Maeve saw what I was doing and ulted so that they were in a panic, and just like that, we're through 2 of the chokes. Now here, I forgot the enemy respawns, so I just walked into a Genos. Anywho, as I run back into the fight, notice that, although I am reckless, I am not mindless. I'm not just going to walk into the enemy without my team being there. Now here, you'll notice, I see the Kanessa, and the best way to push on her is to first break line of sight, approach, and then dive right onto her before she knows what you're doing. Now here, I don't get a single kill, but we win the entire choke fight. And as I said earlier, the rocks here have weird physics, you can just sort of slide down, it's weird. Anyway, without getting a single kill, we won that choke fight. How did I do that? Well, they were distracted long enough for my entire team to get through the entire firing line of the enemy, and then, by the time they turned around, we were finished and we managed to get the payload through. Now that we're on the second round, we're aggressive, we have ultimates, we're going to pop them as soon as possible to make space. I ult right here on the staircase, and then I get shot. I run over to Ceres, and Ceres heals me. I go to chase after Makoa, Maeve ults to cover my ult, and then I get the Makoa. I run over to assist Maeve in killing the backline. We get Kanessa, and then we kill Genos, and it hasn't even been 20% on the capture point? The enemy's back at their spawn room, and it hasn't even been a minute on the round? That is the beauty of being aggressive on Frog Isle, is that these players know what they're doing. They're grandmasters, for goodness sake. But by being so aggressive, by applying so much pressure, you're forcing mistakes out of them, and there's just nothing they can do about it. They're just not able to cope with having so much pressure on them. Now there, I dismounted early, as for short-term distance, having Propel 4 or 5 and not having Master Riding, your thrust is actually faster than your mount. I'm looking for an opportunity to touch the point for my team, and I see one right now. I go in there, I get the point, I get the overtime, I don't get the... God, I must thank you for catching me before I touched the point. That was really dangerous of me, wasn't it? Come on, let's go over to the ledge. Alrighty, bud. Now that you're over here, how good are you at catching things, huh? Catch this. Oh man, you caught it? Nice. Now I see Genos is over the wall, and I'm like, alright, let's go ahead and get him out of the way. So I jump over and bombard him. I see that he survives, so I get an around the corner shot on him. With my arch nemesis Void Grip out of the way, I was seeing an opportunity to start making space for my team, get the enemy behind that triangle that I mentioned. To do this, I just run in and I start making a ruckus. I get the damages too low on health so that they have to back up, and although I didn't get a kill, the tanks had to fall back, forfeiting all the space that they had just held in order to kill me. Now they're stuck in that little alleyway, and now here Maeve kills Khan, and then kills Makoa here as well, and that's the beauty of being aggressive. I didn't even have to kill anyone there, and the enemy has been pressured to a point where they had to fall back. Being aggressive isn't just about going in and getting kills, it's about putting on enough pressure so that the enemy cracks. You're trying to make the enemy make mistakes, you're not really just trying to... You're not just trying to get kills, you want the enemy to mess up so that your team can do more. The mistake they made there was the tanks forfeited all the space that they had made, even though the damages could have dealt with me. And then here, I'm running back in, and I run straight to this tree to get Canessa off the high ground and make the enemy look at me. That allows Saris to get a free ult here as they're distracted, and as I keep Victor's attention, and Genesis' attention, Maeve just runs in and just destroys them. Holding the attention for your team is a really good strategy as Dragos, as he's just so fast and puts on so much pressure, he becomes a primary target. On the third round, I'm trying to mix things up and flank on the right side, as I presume that's where the damages on the enemy team are trying to chill, as that's where they've been in the previous rounds. I'm shown that I'm correct by seeing both Victor and Genos on this side, but Victor was a little bit faster than my little spit salvo, so I was like, alright, let's ult and see if I can take off the point. Makoa was a bit further away than I presumed, allowing him to survive and then activate his ult, and this is a perfect example of why I was trying to avoid any interactions with the enemy tanks, as right there, although we almost killed Makoa with his ult, just by him having Khan backing him up, we lost that entire encounter. Now here, once again, I'm going on the right side because I presume enemies are over there, and I'm rewarded by seeing a low health Canessa. I get rid of her, and by doing that, both the tanks turned around and Victor's focusing me. He uses his grenade to kill me, and in the moments the tanks turned around, my entire team pounced onto the point. Victor using his grenade doesn't have the pressure to get Maeve off the tanks, and just like that, we've recaptured the point. And yeah, this entire game is just, how do you be aggressive and how do you do it smart? You can't be aggressive like this on every map, like maps like Frozen Guard or Ice Mines, there's too much cover. But on maps with less cover, being this aggressive is usually the right play. You have to be on your toes as you're trying to outplay the opponents and put pressure on them. You're trying to make them make mistakes, as I said earlier. But on maps like Frog Isle, Shattered Desert's a little weird, but Shattered Desert, Jaguar Falls, maps that are open and there's not very much cover, is amazing for Dragos, especially if he has a flank to duo with, as you're just able to take all the attention off of the flank and then the flanker can do whatever they want. Like Dragos and Skye can be an awesome comp, as Skye deals so much damage and without any pressure on her, she'll just kill everyone. This game was I went pretty neutral on my KDA. I think it was 8 and 8 and 7. 8 kills, 8 deaths, 7 assists. Maeve managed to go 11 and 8, and Saris never even died the entire game. And like I said, it's just about being able to apply pressure for your teammates, so that instead of having pressure on them, you're taking all of it and forcing the enemy into worse scenarios so that they can perform better. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon because YouTube doesn't know how subscriptions work. And yeah.